PM game veteran player Yun Hua crossed through with 2 top-level sand and rocks, just in time to receive the initial sprite. But why are my 3 royal families, the mole rat, the screw mole rat, and the mountain-penetrating mole rat? Where is my jumping fish? Where is my grass seedling turtle? Where is my Bogarman? However, when he thought of the sand and rocks in his backpack, Yun Hua had confidence again. Who said that if you keep 3 mice, you won't be able to beat anyone else? This is the story of a traveler leading his Sandstorm army to the peak of the elf world. PS1. Parallel world, please do not completely immerse yourself in animations and games. PS2. No system. Welcome to taste. Introduction is weak. Quickly bookmark. Keywords of the novel. Elf Sandstorm King no pop-ups, Elf Sandstorm King TXT complete collection download, Elf Sandstorm King latest chapter reading. In Chapter 1, it was decided that it was you. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. In Chapter 1, it was decided that it was Yuhuagua, Jiangnan Province, Taiwan City. In the visitor reception room of the Taiwan Elf Research Institute. The young man stared blankly at the self-image reflected in the window glass, with no signs of joy or sadness on his face. The boy's name is Yun Hua, originally an ordinary social animal on Blue Star, a senior player in PM games, and a fan of Sandstorm Squad. 2 days ago, Yun Hua had a bad luck and dug up 2 top-level sand and sand rocks in the PM game. He was preparing to dress up his weather handler Banjira and hippopotamus beast and go on a big killing spree. As a result, my eyes turned black, and when I woke up again, it was so meowing that I actually crossed over. As memories gradually merged, Yun Hua knew that she had probably traveled to a parallel world where the real world and the elf world merged. Sure enough, as long as you love something deeply, you can have the opportunity to travel. Yun Hua looked at herself in the glass, tall and thin, with a beautiful and handsome appearance. I didn't expect the name to change, but the person has become handsome and tender, back to the age of 18. It's really amazing. Yun Hua feels that this wave of travel services cannot justify not receiving a 5-star rating. It doesn't matter whether it's tender or not, mainly because it's becoming handsome. After all, being handsome is a lifelong thing, squeak. The door to the reception room was opened, and a middle-aged man in a white research suit walked in and said, "Are you Xiaohua? I didn't expect to see you for several years, and you're taller than me." "Hello Uncle Ma." Yun Hua quickly bowed. Ma Bolin is a senior elf researcher, the leader of the Taiwan Elf Research Institute, and the childhood friend of Yun Hua's father. As the head of the research institute, Ma Bolin also shoulders the task of training some new trainers and distributing initial elves. That's right, Yun Hua came to collect the initial sprite today. Come to the research institute to collect the initial sprite. This routine is so familiar to Yun Hua. It belongs to the Imperial 3 families. I just don't know which region the 3 Imperial families here are from. After all, there are no regions such as Kanto and Fengyuan in this world, and some are still countries like China and the United States in the real world. However, military technology has been replaced by elf technology, and elf trainers have become the mainstream of world development. As soon as you travel, there are 3 royal families to claim, and based on this alone, you don't know how many time travelers have been killed in seconds. What kind of trumpet sprouts, ultrasonic bats, and waves are all spicy chickens in front of me? As far as Yun Hua knows, even in this parallel world, there is a great abundance of elf resources, and only a few people can receive the 3 imperial families distributed by the Research Institute. The vast majority of ordinary people still choose elf cultivation houses. However, the prices of ordinary elves in this world are relatively affordable and have not been hyped up in the sky. You can buy an initial Pokémon produced in a breeding house for thousands to tens of thousands of yuan, with good qualifications, so the pressure is not too great. High-quality Usangia may be a bit more expensive, but it's not outrageous, it's worth $1 million. If you really don't have the money, you can also go to the wild to catch wild elves, and the cost is even lower, which is only the cost of one elf ball. However, the qualifications of wild elves are not guaranteed, and some elves are difficult to tame, so it is rare for parents to agree and let their children choose wild elves as their initial companions. I didn't expect this cheap dad to have such a strong relationship. Yun Hua's heart sank to the ground as she thought. Because as far as Yun Hua knows, the family conditions after his travels seem average, at least on the surface. But I am able to lead the 3 schools in the research institute, and there must be hidden secrets among them. Could it be that the second generation is actually me? After chatting for a moment, uncle and nephew Ma Bolin waved his hand and said, "Xiao Hua, can't you wait a bit? Let's go, I'll take you to see the elves." There are 3 options, you need to consider them carefully later. Yun Hua nodded obediently, with a smile on her face and a contented heart. To be honest, he is really a bit impatient. I hope it's from the Fengyuan region. As long as the water-jumping fish evolves into a giant swamp monster, it's simply ridiculous. If not, the grass seedling turtles and Bogarman from the Shineo region are also fine. Yun Hua followed Ma Bolin step by step, secretly calculating in his heart. He is a loyal fan of the Sandstorm team. He has been an Iron fan for thousands of years. He must form a Sandstorm team, or else he will go through the journey in vain. Yun Hua's goal is to become the strongest Sandstorm trainer on this planet. No matter how bad it is, it has to be in the Kanto region, right? Choosing a small fire dragon to cultivate into a Spitfire dragon as a mascot is also acceptable, after all, it is also half a faith. Yun Hua muttered in his heart, "Don't be from other regions, Amit Ba Buddha." Under the leadership of Ma Bolin, Yun Hua finally arrived at a courtyard. The small courtyard has a large area of 400 to 500 square meters, with many trees and shrubs planted inside. However, the vast majority of the ground is bare, covered with a layer of sand, and many mountain rats and ground squirrels are playing happily. "Xiao Hua, the place has arrived." It's here. Yun Hua looked bewildered. Shouldn't you choose the 3 royal families in a room with 3 red and white balls on the table for yourself to freely choose from? Why is it a bit different from what I imagined? Oh, I got it. The 3 elves of the imperial family must have lived in this small courtyard with other elves. This explanation is very reasonable. However, as Yun Hua looked left and right, he didn't seem to see any other spirits except for the mountain mouse and ground mouse. "Uncle Ma, haven't all the elves arrived yet?" Yun Hua scratched his head and looked at Ma Bolin. "There are still 3 that haven't come out, I'll take care of them." Yun Hua nodded. Sure enough, there were still 3 elves not appearing. "Then it's okay." Ma Bolin took out a small bell and gently shook it a few times, making the sound clear and pleasant. It's a bit like a fecal digger rushing to greet Husky for dinner. Yun Hua. I suddenly have a bad feeling. Puff. 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 The ground suddenly broke through 3 holes, and the 3 bodies were covered in black. Mouse spirits with navy blue diagonal stripes appeared, sticking their heads out. Screw mole. Yun Hua was stunned for a moment. Wasn't it the elves of the imperial 3 families? Ma Bolin obviously didn't hear Yun Hua's murmur and introduced, "Xiao Hua, the mountain mouse and ground mouse are everywhere in our country, shouldn't I introduce them? These are screw ground mice, which mainly inhabit the elves in Europe and America, and their attributes are also terrestrial. Alright, now all 3 types of elves are here. You can choose one as the initial elf according to your preferences." Yun Hua. Sigma, winky face. What is the situation? The 3 houses become the 3 rats. Uncle Ma, are you sure you're not joking? Yun Hua opened his mouth, but was stunned and couldn't say a word. It took him a long time to understand. Are you overthinking everything about emotions? Upon careful consideration, Yun Hua realized that his family's conditions were average and he did not qualify for the Imperial 3 family. I just took it for granted that coming to the research institute is to receive the Imperial 3 families. I didn't expect that the clown was actually me. Seeing that Yun Hua had not moved for a long time, Ma Bolin patted his shoulder and said, "Xiao Hua, don't be stunned. Hurry up and take a closer look to see if there is anything in eye contact. Our research institute's main focus is on agricultural soil quality, and the quality of cultivated ground attribute elves is definitely much better than that of external cultivation houses. Your father and I have a good relationship, and ordinary people really don't have the qualifications to come to my institute to choose elves for research." Upon hearing this, Yun Hua has no fuck to say. Although there was a big gap in his heart, Yun Hua still mustered up his energy and carefully scrutinized the 3 rat spirits. The ground mouse, the screw ground mouse, and the mountain penetrating mouse. Although the Yuzhen family is gone, Yuzhen mouse at least matches the Sandstorm team, so there's no need to worry about becoming a mascot. The development of the matter has not reached an unacceptable level. Besides, there are only poor trainers in the elf world, and there are no bad elves. Who says that the Yuzhen mouse cannot compare to the Yuzhen family? Yun Hua comforted himself crazily and quickly adjusted his mindset, but soon his brain began to ache again. Because in the game, selecting elves only depends on their characteristics, personality, and effort level, but in the real world, do you let them watch it well? Yun Hua only felt that every elf of the same kind here looked similar and couldn't distinguish which one was which. Okay. They are all carved from the same mold, how should I choose? In the absence of a choice, Yun Hua stubbornly targeted 3 screw hamsters. Since they are all blind selections, then we must choose elves with high race values. The evolutionary form of the screw mole is the leading mole, which is not only a ground plus steel dual attribute elf, but also has a race value of up to 508 points, far exceeding that of the mountain piercing king and the 3 mole. It is optional. Director, the 3 teenagers who are scheduled to receive the 3 royal elves today have all arrived. Do you think they should go over and host them? Just as Yun Hua was looking at the screw hamster, a young man in a research suit came running outside the yard and whispered to Ma Bolin. Upon hearing this, Ma Bolin nodded because it seemed impossible for Yun Hua to select his favorite elf in a short period of time. Since that's the case, let's just give him more time so that he can also take care of other things on his own. After explaining the situation, Ma Bolin and his researchers left, leaving only Yun Hua and Yu Sanmu staring at each other, causing a slight awkwardness in the scene. Staring and observing carefully for a long time, Yun Hua finally discovered the differences among the 3 screw hamsters. A curious and daring creature approached without restraint, startling Yun Hua. It thought the little one was going to jump up and hit his knee. A timid one, half of its body still in the cave, with a dog-like aura. The last one has a lot of energy. It's been drilling holes all along. Although the target was narrowed down to 3 screw hamsters and personality differences were roughly identified, Yun Hua still didn't know which one to choose in the end. Because of personality and elf's aptitude, it seems that there is not much relationship between them. This question is too difficult, I can't do it. Yun Hua grabbed her hair and shouted, showing a tendency to become Yuan Hua. Perhaps. Can we use sandstone rocks? Suddenly, Yun Hua's spiritual light flashed and he came up with a solution. Although he is a soul-piercing, when he wakes up, he holds a top-level sandstone rock in his hands. Because the energy purity is too high, the rock has already crystallized, so it is also called sandstone rock crystal. In the game, sandstone crystals are top-level props that contain pure rock attribute energy, which is very beneficial for sandstorm elves. If I take out the sandstone crystal, which elf first perceives its existence, does it mean that this elf has the best perception of rock attribute energy? Is rock attribute talent the strongest? Although Yuzhen Mouse is a ground attribute elf, it is also a sandstorm elf, and its talent for rock attributes is also important. After all, sandstorms are the ultimate weapon of rock properties. This is Yun Hua's idea of patting his head, but he feels it is feasible and worth a try. Anyway, even if I fail, I won't lose out. If I succeed, then I'm a genius. As soon as he said it, Yun Hua walked back to the main entrance, opened his backpack, and took out a sand-yellow crystal about the size of a baby's fist, which was exactly a sandstone crystal. Space technology has become popular in this world, so Yun Hua's backpack is also a space backpack that can isolate the atmosphere inside and outside. But as the sandstone crystal was extracted, a rich and pure energy of rock properties slowly dissipated from it, quickly catching the attention of the three mice. However, Yun Hua observed that the energetic hole-drilling screw mole was the first to perceive the presence of sand and sand crystals, and its speed was significantly faster than other elves, standing out among the chickens. Charlie, while other elves were still sensing the source of energy, the screw mole had already locked its target on Yun Hua, with bright eyes. Since that's the case, then it's up to you. After the success of the plan, Yun Hua put the sandstone crystal back into the space backpack, with the corner of his mouth slightly raised. No matter how difficult this question is, I still manage to solve it. Clever as I am. However, before Yun Hua could be happy, the wall of the small courtyard was suddenly shattered by a huge force. Owl, accompanied by a roar, a Tyrannosaurus Rex elf with rocky skin and a sharp horn on its forehead appeared. After scanning the small courtyard, it finally turned its gaze to Yun Hua, roaring and charging forward with big strides, causing the earth to shake. Iron-clad Tyrannosaurus Rex. Yun Hua's body tightened and her face changed greatly. New book upload, seek collection. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Blessing from Misfortune. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Blessing from Misfortune. Iron Armored Tyrannosaurus Rex, Ground plus Rock Dual Attribute Elf, Evolutionary Type of Iron Armored Rhinoceros. The appearance of Tyrannosaurus Rex is somewhat similar to that of a dinosaur, with a gray body and a sharp diamond cone on its forehead. It has 3 claws on its hands and several spikes on its back. Its massive feet have 2 claws, which are thick and powerful. It also has a strong and powerful tail to maintain balance. As a combat giant with a body made up of rocks and a height of nearly 2 meters, the iron-armored Tyrannosaurus gives people a strong sense of oppression. Yun Hua was extremely fearful. He wanted to turn around and run, but at this moment his body was completely out of control, his legs were trembling violently, and he couldn't even move. The power of the iron-armored Tyrannosaurus Rex is so terrifying. Of course, it could also be Yun Hua's leg. Having his own ideas. As the iron-armored Tyrannosaurus roared towards him, the huge pointed horns became closer and closer to him. Yun Hua only felt that he had difficulty breathing and fell to the ground. As for the imperial 3 rats in the garden, when they saw the appearance of the iron-armored Tyrannosaurus Rex, they all coincidentally burrowed into their holes and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Yun Hua huddled his head in a ball and roared in his heart, "What exactly is this situation? Will you die before you succeed in your graduation? Don't make a fuss, I just traveled, okay?" After more than 10 seconds, the expected thing did not happen. Yun Hua slowly opened his eyes, only to find the iron-armored Tyrannosaurus Rex sniffing back and forth on him, with a look of fanaticism in his eyes. "Do you feel like that? It's a bit abnormal. Licking armor Tyrannosaurus Rex. Could it be that one's own handsomeness is also effective against elves?" As the iron-armored Tyrannosaurus Rex carefully sensed, it finally fixed its gaze on Yun Hua's backpack. Backpack. Sleeping slot. Yun Hua suddenly awakened. He knows now. It must have been the energy fluctuations when I first took out the sandstone crystal that were sensed by this iron-armored Tyrannosaurus Rex, which led to the iron-armored Tyrannosaurus Rex rushing frantically to search and even destroying the cement wall. The iron-armored Tyrannosaurus Rex, as an elf with rock attributes, is simply not too tempting to sand and rock crystals. The armored Tyrannosaurus extended its claws into the space backpack, ready to explore. But just then, a frightened roar sounded. Bulbasaur, use the cane whip quickly. As soon as the words fell, Yun Hua could only feel a few green flashes flashing in front of him. The claws of the iron-armored Tyrannosaurus shrank back, and at the same time, he let out a dull low roar, sobbing and retreating. The iron-armored Tyrannosaurus Rex was repelled, and the sense of oppression suddenly disappeared. Yun Hua finally regained control of his body. He looked up at the entrance of the small courtyard and saw a green toad carrying a huge flower on its back. A green vine whip extended from each side of its body, dancing wildly in the air, whipping at the armored Tyrannosaurus. It is the fairy with both grass and poison attributes, the wonderful frog flower. Although the body of the iron-armored Tyrannosaurus Rex was hard and unparalleled, it had no resistance in front of the rattan whip of the Bulbasaur. Before long, it fell to the ground, its eyes spiraling, and it had lost its combat ability. 4 times weaker grass, what a hard wound. Xiao Hua, are you okay? Ma Bolin was also shocked and broke out in a cold sweat. He first heard a strange noise here, and when he rushed over, he saw the iron-armored Tyrannosaurus pouncing on Yun Hua, as if he was about to commit an attack. Ma Bolin was almost scared to death. This iron-armored Tyrannosaurus Rex is a spirit cultivated by the Research Institute. If it does something to attack humans, its director will definitely be unable to bear it, not to mention that Yun Hua is still his nephew. If there is something unexpected, how can Ma Bolin explain it to Yunfu? Uncle Ma, I'm fine. With the help of Ma Bolin, Yun Hua stood up, but the fear on his face had not completely dissipated. After confirming that Yun Hua was fine, Ma Bolin also breathed a long sigh of relief and said, Xiao Hua, what happened? Why did iron-armored Tyrannosaurus Rex appear here? Although Yun Hua had guessed the reason for the appearance of the iron-armored Tyrannosaurus Rex, he would definitely not say it and could only pretend to be confused and say, I don't know either. I was just observing the elves when this iron-armored Tyrannosaurus Rex suddenly punched the wall and appeared, then came straight towards me. Upon hearing this, Ma Bolin's face was also full of doubts. Because this armored Tyrannosaurus Rex has been in the Research Institute for quite some time, and has always had a good temper. He has never made any unusual moves, but he never expected something to happen today. Not long after, other staff members from the Research Institute also arrived, bringing the iron-armored Tyrannosaurus Rex's Pokeball and taking it back into the ball. Until then, the garden finally regained calmness, and the Imperial 3 rats slowly emerged from the ground, exploring their heads and minds. Xiao Hua, I'm really sorry for startling you today. Ma Bolin's face was full of apologies and he said, don't worry, I will definitely punish this iron-armored Tyrannosaurus Rex severely and never cover it up. Yun Hua's heart moved and pleaded, Uncle Ma, actually the iron-armored Tyrannosaurus Rex didn't mean to harm me. Is it unnecessary to punish him severely? It's not that Yun Hua is soft-hearted, but the initiator of this matter is himself, and the iron-armored Tyrannosaurus Rex is actually a bit innocent. The attraction of sandstone crystals to rock-type elves is enormous, and it is normal for Tyrannosaurus Rex to be unable to resist. Moreover, the iron-armored Tyrannosaurus Rex did not make any moves to harm him, but in the end, they almost took his space backpack away. Fortunately, it did not succeed. Upon learning that the iron-armored Tyrannosaurus Rex had lost control but did not engage in any harmful actions, Maybelline's expression softened significantly. But the death penalty of the iron-armored Tyrannosaurus Rex can be avoided, and it is difficult to forgive it. A slight punishment will definitely not escape, and Yun Hua can only mourn for it. By the way, Xiao Hua, have you selected your initial sprite yet? Ma Bolin began to change the topic, trying to make the atmosphere less solemn. Selected, that's it. Yun Hua raised his hand and pointed to the screw mole, but he didn't expect this kid to start digging holes again. Really motivated. Xiao Hua, your vision is not bad. This screw hamster is very energetic, digging holes and playing all day while honing its claws. Moreover, its talent for ground attributes is also very good. A look of admiration appeared on Ma Bolan's face as he touched his chin and said, "We were still talking before, saying that this screw mole has the fastest hole drilling speed and should be the elf with the most hope of mastering hole digging skills in a short period of time." Really? Yun Hua was overjoyed upon hearing these words. The testing of sandstone crystals has proven that this screw hamster has extremely high talent in rock properties. If the ground attribute talent of this department is also very strong, isn't it about to take off? My house mouse has the assets of a great emperor. After asking Yun Hua 3 times if he was certain, Ma Bolan squatted down to communicate with the screw ground mouse for a moment, and then had someone bring the blank elf ball to Yun Hua. This is the Pokémon ball. You can go up and say hello yourself. Yun Hua nodded and slowly squatted forward, reaching out to touch the small head of the screw mole, but the latter did not resist. Screw hamster, my name is Yun Hua, and I will be your trainer from now on. Please give me more guidance in the future. Charlie, the screw mole let out a soft cry, seeming to understand. Pop. Yun Hua tapped the head of the screw tapping mole with a Pokemon ball. When the Pokemon ball opened, the mole immediately turned into a red light and was received. After a few shakes, the Pokemon ball made a click sound. Screw hamster, successfully subdued. Subsequently, under the leadership of Ma Bolan, Yun Hua registered the screw hamster under his own name. And Yun Hua himself has proudly become a novice trainer. After completing the registration, Ma Bolan took out a device similar to an MP4 from his pocket and handed it to Yun Hua, saying, "Here, this is the elf guidebook. Take it yourself. And this is the fragment of the ground gemstone. You can give the screw mole a fragment every 3 days, which will be very beneficial for its growth." Speaking, Ma Bolan took out another small bag. Fragments of ground gemstones. Yun Hua was stunned for a moment, then opened the small bag and saw that there were dozens of sand yellow crystals smaller than the small nail cap inside, but the color was slightly dark. The ground gemstone Yun Hua is known to be an important prop in the game, and carrying it can enhance the ground attribute move power of elves. Yun Hua has integrated the memories of the original owner and has a certain understanding of the world. Items like attribute gemstones that increase their value are very high. The gemstone fragments are definitely not complete props, but fragments of props, but even so, they are still valuable, at least calculated in units of 10,000. The elf guidebook is easy to explain, but what kind of ghost is giving away gemstone fragments? Yun Hua looked at Ma Bolan, who quickly explained, "Xiao Hua, this is my compensation for you. The action of the iron-armored Tyrannosaurus Rex just now must have scared you. I hope you don't take it to heart." Ma Bolan had an apologetic expression on his face. He was afraid that Yun Hua wouldn't accept them, so he explained, "These fragments were accidentally discovered by me last time I went to the field for research. They weren't useful to me, and even if I kept them, they would eat dust. I'll just give them to you. They should be able to provide some help to the screw hamster in the early stages." Yun Hua could feel Ma Bolan's intentions, and after a moment of contemplation, he did not refuse. He accepted it calmly. However, Ma Bolan has taken note of this friendship and will definitely repay it if there is a chance in the future. After everything was settled, Yun Hua was ready to leave. Before leaving, Ma Bolan gave Yun Hua another box, which contained a month's worth of food for the screw hamster. After expressing gratitude, Yun Hua left the Taisha Research Institute and returned to his hometown by bus. Although Yun Hua's family is also in Taiwan, they are not in the city center, but in a village in neighboring Hai County. It takes more than an hour to take the bus. After arriving home, Yun Hua found that her parents were not there, so she was probably still working. Yun Hua's parents are both fruit farmers and have contracted a small mountainous area in the back mountain to plant orange fruits. However, the planting area is not large and the yield is not high, so the family conditions are average. Since that's the case, let's give the screw hamster a rough idea first. Speaking of which, it seems that I still don't even know what skills the screw hamster has mastered. We are going through the signing process now, seeking collection, investment, and everything. Omega, end of this chapter. Chapter 3. General Investigation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. General Investigation, come out, screw mole. Yun Hua took out the red and white ball, pressed the switch, and the screw hamster instantly turned into a red light. The body of the screw hamster is covered in black, with navy blue diagonal stripes, a white face, a high-pointed nose with pink tips, and a pair of arms larger than the soles of the feet. Its tips are curved from the outside to the inside, divided into 3 sharp white claws. This screw hamster should have been born not long ago, with a height of only about 0.3 m, it looks a bit playful and very cute. Charlie, the screw hamster, curiously looked at the unfamiliar environment and then looked up at Yun Hua, feeling a bit bewildered. Screw hamster. _ Aren't you a trainer? Are you considering opening up first? Otherwise, if you can speak without speaking, and if I want to speak without speaking, it will be awkward, okay? Charlie, after a moment of silence, the screw mold decided to break this awkwardness, so it decided to make a hole first to ease it. Kaka the screw mole is truly a screw mole, dedicated to drilling holes for 30 years. In just 2 or 3 seconds, it dug a basin-sized hole on the ground. Screw hamster, stop it. Yun Hua was scared and quickly stopped urinating. This is his small courtyard, where Yun's father grows many ornamental plants. Following the rhythm of drilling holes like screw hamsters, the courtyard can be emptied in less than an hour. Screw hamster. Although stopped, a smile appeared on the face of the screw mole. You kid finally spoke up, do you have to force me to use some means? Yun Hua also has a headache at this moment. There is clearly a difference between games and reality. In games, all you need to do is fight monsters, accumulate experience, and level up. However, in reality, elves are living individual lives that need to be balanced in all aspects. Yun Hua felt like she had an extra son and was on the verge of becoming a wet dad. After pondering for a moment, Yun Hua decided to first establish a closer relationship with the screw hamster, commonly known as increasing intimacy. So he took out a fragment of a ground gemstone and shook it in front of the screw hamster, saying with a smile, "Do you want to eat it?" The screw hamster patted its feet, its nose swaying close to the gemstone fragments for a moment, and it was instantly captured by the gemstone fragments. Because it can sense that the gemstone fragments contain a very beneficial energy for it. Charlie, the screw mole, nodded wildly. Omega. Want to eat, want to eat. After putting the gem fragments into the mouth of the screw hamster, the latter didn't even bite, but swallowed them directly, which is quite a ruse for pigs to eat ginseng fruit. Screw hamster. ***. Delicious and delicious. Favorability of screw hamsters +1 A gem fragment instantly brought the relationship between humans and mice closer. Charlie, however, the screw hamster seemed to be somewhat unsatisfied. It extended its large white paw and pointed to Yun Hua, then pointed to its own open mouth, surprisingly wanting to beg for it. I didn't expect to still be a foodie. A smile appeared on Yun Hua's face. He felt like he had found a way to deal with rats. However, Ma Bolan's instruction to Yun Hua still remembers that it is more appropriate to give one of the gemstone fragments to the screw mole every 3 days, so Yun Hua definitely cannot agree. But if he refused directly, he was worried about ruining the distance he had finally brought closer, so he could only bluff and say, "It's not impossible to still want to eat, but you must make sure to listen to me, understand?" Charlie, the screw hamster nodded obediently, obedient, definitely obedient. Remembering the smell of gemstone fragments, the screw hamster almost dripped its saliva. Moreover, it knows that Yun Hua still has a better treasure in his hand than a gemstone fragment. If Yun Hua could be pleased and give himself that unknown treasure, wouldn't it be a pleasure to step onto the peak of rat life? Since that's the case, let me first investigate your situation. Screw hamster, you can first apply all the skills you have mastered. Yun Hua looked at the screw hamster with anticipation on his face. Charlie, the screw hamster was full of energy and was quite cooperative. After looking left and right, it finally aimed its gaze at a huge bonsai plant next to it, and its claws began to emit white light. Seeing this, Yun Hua almost scared to pee again and quickly stopped him. This basin of Arhat pine bonsai is about 1.5 m high, but after crossing through the lifeblood of the cheap father, the screw gopher has to beat it to rags. Take your own life to explain. As a last resort, Yun Hua pulled the screw hamster to the open space outside and pointed to a pine tree, saying, "Come, use your ultimate move towards it." This pine tree has a diameter of over half a meter and a height of more than 10 meters. The screw hamster can work hard to create it. Charlie, the screw mole nodded, and a white light appeared again on its paws, leaving 3 deep marks on the pine tree in an instant. Is this the ultimate claw move? Yun Hua raised her eyebrows. Claw, a common attribute ultimate move that uses hard and extremely sharp claws to attack. It is one of the basic moves of elves. Although the claw technique is mediocre, its power is indeed considerable. The marks on the pine branches are as deep as 2 or 3 centimeters. Yun Hua speculated that this was probably due to the screw hamster drilling holes in the ground all day long, and its claws were often polished to have such power. After the claws were fully unleashed, the screw ground squirrel took a few steps back and suddenly raised its right paw. A hazy earthy yellow light flickered between its palms, instantly turning into a piece of mud and being thrown out by it. Bang! The mud hit the branch of the pine tree, burning its face. Yun Hua, who was standing beside it, was almost blown open by the mud, which affected the fish in the pond. Throwing mud trick. Nice. As an experienced driver in the elf world, Yun Hua once again recognized the ultimate move exhibited by the screw mole and was overjoyed. Throwing mud, a ground attribute ultimate move that throws mud blocks at the opponent's face and other parts to attack and reduce their hit rate. It's no wonder Yun Hua is so happy. Although the power of the throwing mud skill is not high, the accompanying effect of 100% reducing the opponent's hit rate can be said to be very powerful. The key is that throwing mud is a long-range ultimate skill, and the speed race talent of the screw hamster is also quite good. If the two are combined to play the dirty trick of flying kites, the effect is absolutely amazing. Because in the early stages of elf cultivation, there are very few unique moves that can be mastered, and most of them are basic moves such as melee claws and collisions. Dirty routines can definitely easily kill half of the elves. Screw mole, are there any other tricks? Yun Hua had a smile on his face. Charlie, nodding his head, the screw mole stretched its paw flat and spun its body vigorously, hitting the pine tree several times and leaving several scratches on the branches. This time it's a high-speed rotation. Yun Hua's eyes lit up. High-speed rotation, a common attribute move that attacks opponents through rotation, and can also be used to break free from the constraints of moves such as binding, parasitic seeds, and flame whirlpools. Similar to the mud-throwing ultimate move, the power of the high-speed rotating ultimate move is not high, but the side effect is very practical, which can make the tactics of the screw mole more flexible. Is there anything else? Is there anything else? Yun Hua became increasingly excited. Charlie, however, this time, the screw mole chose to shake its head. 3 ultimate moves. They're also great. Yun Hua nodded. Although the number of skills for the screw mole is not many, the quality is still quite high, and he cannot demand too much from himself. Moreover, the screw hamster has good talents in both ground and rock properties. As long as it is given some time to grow, I believe it will not disappoint itself. Moreover, I am a man with ground gemstone fragments and sandstone crystals. You're lucky, kid. You can't even try to be strong. Yun Hua chuckled, making the screw hamster a bit confused. Why does this trainer often giggle foolishly, so silly and silly? After completing a thorough assessment of the skills of the screw hamster, Yun Hua tested its strength, speed, stamina, responsiveness, and physical coordination abilities. The screw hamster is truly a spirit that takes extreme object attacks. Although its body is small and about the same size as a pet cat, its strength is really fierce. A stone as big as a grinding wheel can be easily lifted, making it a Hercules. The speed of the screw hamster is also very good, and it can run with great strides. It can easily perform simple dodge movements. In addition, the reaction, hearing, and physical coordination abilities of screw hamsters are also not poor. Overall evaluation. This is indeed an elite screw hamster with excellent qualities. After the end of the investigation, Yun Hua did not rush to train the screw hamster, but instead played mud with it, preparing to take the opportunity to further strengthen relationships and increase intimacy. As far as Yun Hua knows, if the intimacy between elves and trainers is not enough, elves have a risk of disobedience and even rebellion. The screw mole has a good talent, and as its initial elf, Yun Hua is ready to cultivate a good relationship with it first, striving to achieve no distinction between humans and mice, which needs to be learned like a fool. Otherwise, Yun Hua wouldn't dare to give the sandstone crystal to the screw hamster. If this kid becomes stronger and feels like he's not obedient like a fire-breathing dragon, who will he find to reason with? Playing with mud may seem a bit silly, but who makes it effective? Just consider it as liberating nature. Yun Hua kept comforting herself in her heart. At 5.30, Yun's father and mother finally returned. When they saw Yun Hua rolling in the ground, the two elders couldn't help but glance at each other with confusion on their faces. Our big account. Is it useless to practice? Signed, please recommend. Seeking collection. Seeking investment. Please follow up. During the new book period, there will be 2 shifts every day, tentatively scheduled for around 12 noon and 8 p.m. Thank you to the book friend, Dragon, for giving a reward of 300 coins. Author, Omega. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Integration into the family. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Integration into the family. Mom and Dad, have you all come back? Yun Hua turns over in the mud. Seeing her parents staring at her, blush turns red. He quickly lifted the screw hamster out of the mud and explained, Dad and Mom, don't misunderstand. I'm cultivating feelings with the screw hamster. Wow, is this Xiaohua your initial elf? It's actually a screw hamster that only exists abroad. I've only seen it on TV before. Ms. Lin Xilan, the mother of Yun, quickly stepped forward to examine the screw hamster, feeling a sense of discovering a new species. Hey, for my face, old Ma still needs to give it. Yun's father, Yun Chenghai, had a proud expression on his face. The director of the Taiwan Elf Research Institute is his childhood friendship of urinating in mud together, which he can boast about for a lifetime. Charlie, the screw hamster, was a bit shy and quickly hid behind Yun Hua. Its small paw tightly gripped Yun Hua's pants leg, revealing only half of his small head. Screw hamster. Who are these people? Afraid. Hey, the little one is quite shy. Ms. Lin Xilan attempted to summon the screw hamster with maternal radiance, but the hamster did not eat this trick and simply could not hide. It seems we need to make a delicious meal tonight. With my cooking skills, I'll make you, this little mouse, kneel down and sing, conquer every minute. Ms. Lin Xilan was holding back her energy and preparing to showcase her skills tonight. Upon returning home, Yun's father began to water and fertilize the vegetation on a daily basis, while Ms. Lin took out ingredients from the refrigerator and was busy in the kitchen. As for Yun Hua, he came to the bathroom with the screw mole. I've been playing in the mud for so long now, and both humans and mice are dirty. You must clean up before eating, otherwise you won't be able to come to Yun Mama's table. Here, I'll wash it for you first. Yun Hua reported the screw mole to the wash basin. When the faucet turned on, Yun Hua could clearly feel that the screw mole's body had stiffened, with fear in its eyes. Ground attribute screw hamsters are most afraid of water. Charlie, the screw hamster with a crying voice. Oh, oh. I lost this time, let's not eat this meal. Even if I starve to death, I won't take a shower with water if I go out to eat sand. But to the surprise of the screw hamster, Yun Hua did not forcefully wash it in the wash basin, but took out a towel to wet it with water and wring it dry before gently wiping its body. Screw mole, you should be able to accept this, right? Hold on. Yun Hua had a gentle smile on his face, like the summer sun, making the screw mole feel warm in his heart. Although there is not much moisture in the towel, it still makes the screw hamster feel uncomfortable. However, the little guy persevered with his body taut, allowing Yun Hua to wipe his face, paws, body, and red nose all over. After cleaning the screw mole, Yun Hua took out a clean and soft bath towel to wrap it around, revealing only one head like a baby, and finally placed it on the bed where he slept. You take a break here first, and we'll go eat after I finish washing. After speaking, Yun Hua, who was dirty all over, walked into the bathroom again and turned on the faucet to rinse. Charlie, screw hamster. Oh, greater than or equal to less than or equal to, oh. The screw mole is wrapped in a bath towel, feeling warm and comfortable. Thinking about Yun Hua's gentle behavior towards it just now, the screw hamster thought to himself. Since the trainer treats it so well, should we also train well and grow up as soon as possible, giving face to the training parents? How about waiting for the trainer to fall asleep at night? Go to the back mountain to train and drill holes on your own, and strive to master the hole digging skill as soon as possible. When Yun Hua finished taking a shower, blew his hair, and went downstairs to eat with a screw hamster, there were already 5 dishes and 1 soup on the table, with fish and meat, and a proper combination of meat and vegetables. You're lucky to follow me, kid. Yun Hua rubbed the small head of the screw mole. To be honest, Yun Mama's cooking skills are not worth mentioning. Charlie, the screw hamster almost didn't drool, it has never smelled such a fragrant smell since its birth until now. In the past, besides eating dirt, it used to eat energy cubes. Although the taste of that thing was good, it was definitely not as good as human food. However, to become a powerful elf, energy blocks are essential, as regular food is difficult to provide sufficient energy for the elf to sustain growth and training. The screw hamster has not yet started training, so eating regular food is not a problem. On the dining table, in addition to Yun Dad and Yun Mom, there is also a blue elf with tadpole features on its surface. Its body is a round ball, its belly is white, and it has a clockwise spiral pattern on it. It is the water elf. Mosquito-repellent tadpoles. Mosquito incense tadpoles are the spirits of Yunma, responsible for watering in the fruit forest. Yun's father actually has a BB bird, which is responsible for catching insects on weekdays and needs its sharp gaze to guard the forest at night, so he didn't eat there. In this world, elves have already integrated into various industries, and it is not uncommon for everyone to receive elves for cultivation as long as they reach adulthood. The construction industry has great power, the healthcare industry has auspicious eggs, the police industry has Katy dogs, the fire industry has Johnny turtles, and the power industry has little magnetic monsters. However, neither Yun nor Yun are professional trainers, so although elves have been cultivated for many years, their strength is not strong, and mosquito-repellent tadpoles have not evolved to this day. Yo, Charlie, Omega, the mosquito-repellent tadpole took the initiative to greet, and the screw hamster also responded in a friendly manner. The 2 little ones have already met. Come on, screw hamster, try my braised pork belly. Yun Mama kindly pinched a piece of meat for the screw ground mouse, and the latter's eyes instantly turned into little stars after eating it. Omega, my favorability towards Yunma is also on the rise. Up. So, Yun Mama gave more vegetables to the screw-ground mousetrap than Yun Hua, which made Yun Hua doubt for a while who was the real son. After finishing this meal, the screw hamster was directly captured by Yun Mama, and surprisingly, the cat was still playing coquettish in Yun Mama's arms. With no face left. The foodie mole said, "I don't have face. Just have something delicious." Oh, carrot carrot, oh in this way, the screw hamster smoothly integrated into the big family and lived a happy life from then on. At around 10 o'clock in the evening, the screw mole had already fallen asleep wrapped in a towel, while Yun Hua was still brushing his phone. I, the champion of staying up late. Sleeping is impossible, it's impossible in this lifetime. Didi, a new message popped up in the class group of Class 1 in senior high school. Class Monitor Lu Chin. The summer vacation is coming to an end soon. Have everyone received the initial sprite yet? Chu Ling, I have received it. The cute god travels, and the ugly ghost avoids it. Subsequently, a photo was uploaded, showing a small and pink elf that looked somewhat like a star, with a small blush on its cheeks. Lin Xinchin. Wow, it's actually a leather baby. It's really cute and adorable. Annal Air. What a lovely leather baby, I really want it too. But my elf is also very patient. After Annal finished speaking, she also uploaded a photo of a little Pichio sleeping wrapped in a scarf. As the news continued to ring, more and more people were also blown out. Girls are uploading cute photos of their initial Pokémon, such as Six Tails, Ibu, Baobaoding, and Luli. Everything is available. Anyway, no matter how cute it will come. Yun Hua sneered at this, feeling that none of these girls' initial elves could be defeated. I guess I can't resist the sharp claws of the screw mole, so I'm sure I'll cry and go back to find my mother. Elves, being able to fight is the key, okay. The girls in the class have all appeared, and the boys must also be unwilling to be outdone, reporting their initial elves one after another. The aesthetic preferences of boys are quite diverse, with a wide variety of species including Nidoran, Supersound Bat, Meow Meow, Monkey Monster, Aber Snake, etc. Even the boys were shouting, coming to battle and spar tomorrow, and the atmosphere in the group instantly became hot. The group, which had been flooded for a long time, was approaching 11 o'clock when class monitor Lu Chen once again said, "Tomorrow school starts. Remember to bring the elves to the school and let the elves get to know each other. It's getting late, everyone go to bed early." After speaking, class monitor Lu Chen went offline and his profile picture turned black. Will school start tomorrow? Yun Hua had a bewildered expression on his face, but upon closer reflection, it seemed that there was indeed such a thing happening. Although memories have merged, habits have not changed, and he has forgotten that he is now a senior high school student. That means we need to go to bed early. Yun Hua quickly turned off the light, and in the darkness, he spent another hour scrolling through his phone before finally going to bed satisfied. Charlie, not long after Yun Hua fell asleep, the screw hamster suddenly woke up Yun Hua. Please recommend. Seeking collection. Seeking investment. Oh screw hamster. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Opening season. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Opening season. The next day at around 7 o'clock, as soon as the alarm clock rang, Yun Hua woke up and quickly turned off the alarm. Rubbing his eyes, Yun Hua saw the screw mole still sleeping soundly, and a faint smile appeared on his face. He stepped forward and lightly poked the little face of the screw mole, who reached out his paw to scratch and flipped over, adjusting his posture and continuing to sleep, unable to wake up at all. Good kid. Sleep earlier than me and wake up later than me. The donkeys in the production team don't even have you like them. Yun Hua shook his head and went to wash himself. Anyway, the rat doesn't need to wash its face or brush its teeth. Just wipe it off when the time comes, so let it sleep a little longer. Wash your face, brush your teeth, change your clothes and pants, and when everything is ready, the screw hamster finally wakes up. Shari, oh, the screw hamster let out a cheerful cry. Upon hearing the sound, Yun Hua quickly ran over all the way, feeling a bit like a wet dad and having a strong sense of service. Ha! Why is your towel and blanket so dirty? When Yun Hua was tidying up the towel wrapped around the screw mole last night, he found that it was covered in small mud and sand stains. He couldn't help but change his expression and say, "You Charlie, screw hamster." The little one raised his claws and had a smile on his face. "Are you a good observer, kid? Anyway, since you found out, I won't pretend anymore." "That's right, I secretly practiced for myself last night and dug a 100-meter small tunnel on the side, isn't it impressive?" Recalling last night's experience, the screw mole's face was full of pride. I don't know if it was due to eating the ground gemstone fragments, but it was particularly energetic when drilling holes last night, and even the drilling speed has increased significantly. It seems that I'm really getting stronger. Although humans and elves can communicate easily, sometimes they can still make mistakes, especially when elves express themselves to humans, it is easy for them to deviate. At this point, Yun Hua didn't understand the meaning expressed by the screw mole. He thought it was due to the habits of the screw mole, which made it like to sleep in mud or sand. That's why he secretly ran outside to sleep in the middle of the night and came back in the morning, afraid of affecting himself. If it weren't for one's keen observation ability, who would have noticed this? What a good mouse that doesn't make trainers worry. Thinking of his negligence, Yun Hua felt guilty and said, "Don't worry, screw mole. I'll make a soft sand bed for you this afternoon and put it downstairs. You can sleep wherever you want." Charlie. The screw hamster looked bewildered. What kind of ghost is the soft sand bed? "I went outside last night for exercise, not sleep, okay? Didn't you see my body full of tendons and flesh?" Screw hamster. "Just like you, I can hit you 10 times. The screw hamster explained several times, but after seeing that everything was ineffective, he reluctantly gave up. But thinking of having a soft sand bed downstairs would make it much more convenient for me to go out for training in the future. At least you don't have to tiptoe like last night, like a thief, right? It seems that the future drilling training can be arranged every day. Great." Having breakfast with the screw hamster, Yun Hua retrieved the Pokémon ball and bid farewell to his parents, riding his bike to school. Yun Hua's school is called Haisien Second High School, which is ranked second in Haisien County. You can tell by its name. Yun Hua's home is 5 or 6 kilometers away from the school, and it takes nearly 20 minutes to ride a bicycle. When Yun Hua arrived at the classroom, most of the students had already arrived, and a fairy cub was beside each other, chatting and commenting, which was quite enjoyable. The most eye-catching among them was a sturdy young man, accompanied by an elf with dark blue skin and a small fleshy white belly, 2 ears standing up on top of his head, and a round belly. This little Kabi beast, have mastered 4 unique skills since birth and have great potential. I don't know how many people want to use it as the initial elf for their own children. Thanks to my father's broad path and strong connections, he registered under my name." The robust young man Fan Cheng's face was full of pride. He is a well-known tycoon in his class, and it is said that his family owns a factory. "I'll go. I've mastered 4 skills since I was born. It's really frustrating that people are more popular than people. My fierce sparrow only knows 2 skills, pecking and staring, it's really useless. My little fist stone is a bit better than you, but it can only hit, round, and play with mud. Everyone, Fan Xiao's little Kabi beast is a high-end elf that cost hundreds of thousands of alliance coins to buy. We ordinary elves are definitely incomparable." The third speaker seems to be a lackey of Fan Xiao, and the level of praise is quite good. Seeing the expressions of amazement and envy on everyone's faces, Fan Cheng was very pleased. He smiled and said, "Didn't someone in the group suggest coming to battle and spar yesterday? Let's go play together after class later." Boys are definitely very interested in fighting against elves, so no one opposes it. Moreover, fighting against elves is not something that can be won with just a few skills. It also requires attention to attribute restraint and combat literacy. Although little Kabi beast is strong, there are also people who want to break their wrists. What if they win? Yoha, isn't this the handsome Yunde guy from our class? Seeing Yun Hua enter, Fan Qing sneered disdainfully. The original owner of this body, Yun Hua, has a rather reclusive personality, but she can't resist her handsome appearance, and her academic performance is also good. This really highlights the G-spot of the girls in the class. Who knows how many girls are secretly in love with Yun Hua? Yun Hua's nickname Yundashui comes from this. However, in this way, Yun Hua became the public enemy of all the boys in the class. The boys led by Fan often sarcastically mocked the original owner, Yun Hua, and spared no effort in isolating and suppressing him. The key is that the original protagonist's personality is relatively timid and weak, and he dare not make enemies with Fan Qing and others, which leads to Fan Qing looking down on Yun Hua. Fan Qing glanced at Yun Hua and said apologetically, "Marshal Yun, it seems like you didn't bubble in the class group last night, did you? By the way, what was your initial elf? We are all curious." Yun Hua's family's conditions are also below average in the entire class, and Fan Qing is also aware of this. So he predicted that Yun Hua's initial elf should be average, and wanted to use this as a breakthrough to humiliate Yun Hua. Me. Yun Hua looked bewildered. He was ready to be a transparent class member, quietly watching Fan Qing pretend to be forced. Why did he suddenly pull on me? However, seeing everyone in the class staring at him, Yun Hua pondered for a moment and could only honestly explain, "My initial elf was a screw mole." Screw mole. This seems to be an elf only found abroad, isn't it? It's rare in our country. Yun Hua is so amazing. As soon as Yun Hua finished speaking, a girl nearby exclaimed in admiration, leaving Yun Hua a bit confused. What is the situation? That girl just now was just as competitive as a professional comedian. The timing of this humorous joke was perfectly timed. "Girl, you're not from Dian society, are you?" Sure enough, as soon as the girl finished speaking, Fan Cheng's face beside her turned black into an iron pot. "I haven't started pretending yet. Yun Hua quietly installed one first." "What do you mean?" Fan Qing stared and said in a strange yin-yang way, "Yun Hua, can you do it? You even have a way abroad. I used to underestimate you so much. Why? Are you interested in coming and sparring?" Since we cannot mock Yun Hua in terms of elf types, Fan Chengchi can only find his presence in elf battles. Fan Cheng is still very confident about his own little Kabi beast. "Sorry. I'm not interested." Yun Hua waved his hand and turned around to leave. He is really lazy to participate in meaningless fights. Winning is not beneficial, losing will leave screw hamsters covered in scars. What is the picture? Unfortunately, the trees desire tranquility while the wind continues. Yun Hua doesn't want to fight, but Fan Qing thinks too much. Fan Qing felt it was very necessary to defeat Yun Hua and humiliate him severely, in order to prove his strength and attract the attention of the girls, which would be a win-win situation. Thinking of this, Fan Cheng's gaze unconsciously glanced at a cute girl next to him. Chu Ling, the initial elf was Pai Bao Bao, who was the first girl to upload a picture last night. She was the object of Fan Cheng's secret love, but unfortunately, Chu Ling seemed to like Yun Hua. "This is very funny," Fan Cheng said. "I can't bear it." With a blink of an eye, Fan Cheng walked up to Yun Hua's position and whispered, "Yun Hua, this is a VIP card from the elf department store. With this card, you can enjoy a 10% discount. All you need to do is fight against me. If you lose, there will be no punishment. If you win, this card will be yours. Can you enjoy a 10% discount on the VIP card of the elf department store?" Yun Hua raised her eyebrows. Elf Department Store, as the name suggests, is a department store that sells items related to elves. There are a wide variety of goods inside, and the vast majority of goods can be purchased inside. As is well known, items related to elves are mostly priced relatively high. As far as Yun Hua knows, the energy block ration for the screw hamster alone costs about 1,000 yuan per month, not to mention other expenses. If you have this 10% discount card, you can save at least 100 yuan per month. Bing Kuo Lu costs 3 yuan per bottle, and 100 yuan island. Realizing Bing Kuo Li's freedom, Yun Hua squinted his eyes and calmly took the card away, saying with a silly smile, "Then let's have a friendly sparring. There is no punishment for losing, but if you win, you can take this 10% discount card." How could there be such a good thing in the world? This wave is really irresistible. Thank you to book enthusiasts. I Love Benjila starts with a reward of 234 yuan, 99% of the world starts with a reward of 130 yuan, and The Pace Cannot Stop starts with a reward of 100 yuan. Thank you to the book enthusiasts. 2 monthly passes for Yug Salon and 1 monthly pass for I Love Banhila. Seeking votes, seeking investment, end of this chapter. Chapter 6. vs Little Kabi Beast. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 vs Little Kabi Beast. Due to the fact that high school seniors can receive their initial Pokémon at the age of 18, there is a Pokémon battleground in the school, located next to the teaching building. The size of the standard playing field is similar to that of a basketball court, with Yun Hua and Fan Qing standing inside the white trainer's command box, holding red and white balls in their hands, ready to take off. Go, Little Kabi Beast. Go ahead, Screw Mole. The two of them almost threw a Pokémon ball at the same time, with one big and one small Pokémon instantly turning into red light and appearing in opposition from afar. Kabi, Charlie, however, compared to the small Kabi Beast, which stands at a height of 0.6 m, the Screw Mole is only 0.3 m tall, almost only reaching the belly of the Kabi Beast. The difference in body size is too large, just like children and adults. Not to mention that the little Kabi Beast is mainly a horizontally developing elf, with a round belly, thick arms, and screw hamsters that cannot be compared. I'll go, isn't this little Kabi Beast a bit too big? It's like a meat mountain tank. Who said it's not? The thick fat of the little Kabi Beast means it will have abundant physical strength and strong defense, and it's not easy to defeat it. It's not just about physical strength and defense. Do you see the big arms of the little Kabi Beast? They are thicker than our thighs, so their strength must be very strong, and their attack power will be quite outstanding. And don't forget, Fan Cheng's little Kabi Beast has been mastering 4 skills since birth, with strong talent and potential. Hey, what did Yun Hua think? With just the little arms and legs of the screw hamster, what are you fighting against the little Kabi Beast with? I'm also curious. Isn't Yun Hua usually wilting? Fan Xiao mocks him, but he doesn't dare to talk back. What's going on today? Dare to engage in a refined battle with Fan Xiao? Are you too brave? Perhaps I thought I had obtained a foreign variety of elves and felt a bit complacent. However, as far as I know, the screw ground mouse, a type of elf, is similar to the domestic mountain penetrating mouse. It's everywhere in foreign countries, so there's nothing unusual about it. I see, why are these screw ground squirrels so similar to mountain rats? They are both ground attribute elves and mouse type elves, and they probably have similar skills to master. I hope Yun Hua loses a little more miserably. I've been displeased with this kid for a long time. On the edge of the battlefield, students from Class 1 of Grade 3 stood in a row, ready to watch a good show. However, almost everyone is not optimistic about Yun Hua. The difference in body size between the screw hamster and the small Kabi Beast is too great. In addition, when elves were born not long ago, they mostly only knew some basic melee skills, and during battles, they engaged in fierce fighting with each other, without any technical skills at all. It mainly depends on whose attack power is strong, whose defense power is strong, and who has more physical strength. But compared to the above three dimensions, it seems that Yun Hua's screw hamster has not taken up either. Plus, the screw hamster doesn't have any attribute advantage yet, so why bother with it? The key is that Yun Hua, who is handsome and good at learning, is almost the public enemy of the boys in the class. They really want Yun Hua to be ravaged by Fan Cheng. It would be even more satisfying if Fan Cheng could humiliate Yun Hua again after defeating him. The girls hope that Yun Hua can win, but when they look at the comparison of body types, they also feel that it is not very realistic and can only watch silently with their mouths closed. Please take your positions and the competition begins. A classmate in the class made a guest appearance as a referee and gave instructions for the start of the game. Little Kabi Beast, charge up and use impact. Fan Cheng sneered on his face and waved his hand, giving instructions. Kabi, the little Kabi monster let out a cry, with a fierce expression on its face, and took cute small steps as it headed straight towards the screw hamster. Compared to the size of the little Kabi Beast and the screw mole, if this blow is hit hard, the screw mole will have to be knocked out. But unfortunately, the small Kabi Beast's body is too bulky, and although the small steps are fast, the speed is still very moving. Screw mole, quickly retreat and keep a distance from the little Kabi Beast. Yun Hua's mouth slightly curled up. Charlie, the screw mole nodded and glared at the little Kabi Beast before quickly running away. Yun Hua doesn't know if there is a concept of race value in this parallel world, but the speed of the little Kabi Beast is really not impressive in front of the screw mole. Even though the impact trick may have a slight increase in speed, it is still a drop in the bucket. The little Kabi Beast cannot get close to the screw mole within a 10-meter range. Upon seeing this, Fan Cheng frowned slightly and shouted, "Yun Hua, what do you mean by keeping the screw hamster running like this? If you don't take on the fight, you will be judged as losing your fighting spirit and losing." Because in Fan Cheng's eyes, the skills mastered by the screw mole are definitely similar to those of the mountain-penetrating mole, probably playing basic melee moves such as mud, claws, and rounding. If the screw hamster doesn't fight, then this game will be meaningless. Losing the will to fight. It's not necessary. Yun Hua chuckled and shouted loudly, "Screw mole, throw mud." Charlie, after hearing the attack command, the screw hamster quickly stopped wandering, and the ground attribute energy in its body converged into the palm of its hand, instantly turning into a black mud, which it vigorously threw out. Pop! The mud quickly swept through the air, accurately hitting the head of the little Kabi Beast and burning its face. Kabi, the little Kabi Beast felt pain and quickly stopped walking. It waved its palm, trying to wipe away the mud, but just off guard, the mud had already entered its small eyes, and its vision suddenly blurred. Throwing mud. Long-range attack ultimate move. Fan Cheng was slightly surprised. According to his original expectations, the little Kabi Beast, with its advantages in physical strength, attack power, and defense, could easily beat the screw mole to tears with a set of 8 fists, and then easily win. But now, things have clearly deviated from his expectations. If the opponent keeps using long-range moves, with the speed and agility of a small Kabi Beast, they will definitely be kited to death. However, Fan Cheng was only surprised and did not panic. An ordinary little Kabi Beast can master up to 3 ultimate skills at birth: impact, rounding, and tongue licking. But Fan Cheng's little Kabi Beast has outstanding talent and also has a 4th move. Rolling. Rolling, a rock attribute ultimate move that continuously rolls to attack opponents. After each hit, the power of the move will increase. The key is that although the little Kabi Beast runs slowly, once it uses its rolling skill, its speed will increase by multiple times. Catching up with the screw hamster. No problem. Little Kabi Beast, roll. With Fan Cheng's command, the little Kabi Beast curled up into a spherical shape and immediately rolled up, like a rapidly spinning meatball, charging straight towards the screw hamster at lightning speed. Screw mole, quickly dodge. Yun Hua's face changed dramatically. Because the rolling speed of the small Kabi beast is really fast, coupled with its tonnage, it is evident that its power is impressive. Charlie, the screw mole, also had a serious expression on its face, wanting to dodge, but it was already too late. Because the little Kabi beast was rolling too fast, it rolled away from the screw mole before it could react. Bang! The little Kabi beast rolled out of the field and eventually collided with the wall, leaving its rolling state dizzy and dazed, with little stars in its eyes. Charlie. What? _. Everyone on site looked bewildered. What is the situation? Especially the screw hamster, who almost scared to pee just now. The result is. Is that all? Little Kabi beast, can you aim at the point and hit it again? Fan Cheng's face has turned black to the bottom of the pot. This wave has caused a great loss of face. He is also the little Kabi beast he just received these days. He only knows that Kabi beasts can roll their ultimate moves, but he has no idea about Kabi beasts rolling. There is a risk of not being able to hit them correctly. Is it due to the rolling of the little Kabi beast, which was originally inaccurate? Or is it because throwing mud reduced the accuracy of the little Kabi beast? Yun Hua rubbed his chin and pondered, but there was no answer. Perhaps it's a combination of both. However, seeing the little Kabi beast standing up unsteadily and preparing to launch a rolling attack, Yun Hua will definitely not give it another chance. Screw hamster, keep throwing mud, batter up the face of the little Kabi beast for me. Yun Hua roared angrily and launched a counterattack. Pop. When the little Kabi beast saw the position of the screw hamster clearly and was ready to roll again, the mud from the screw hamster had already arrived, and it was successful in sticking its face again. With the agility of the little Kabi beast, there is basically no need to worry about it dodging. Kabi, the little Kabi beast, was furious. If it's a man, let's have a physical showdown with me. What kind of hero is throwing mud? The mockery of the little Kabi beast was completely ignored by the screw hamster. Because at this moment, the rat is in an infinite cycle of condensing mud, throwing, condensing mud, and throwing again, and playing happily. Pop pop pop, the throwing mud skill continues to hit, and the little Kabi beast's whole body is burnt out, with its face being the key area for greeting. The eyes of the little Kabi beast are basically unable to open. Little Kabi beast. Until then, Fan Cheng's face finally changed drastically. He could feel that this game was about to lose. Because after the little Kabi beast lost its sight, it had completely become a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. I can't see it, I can't catch up with it, and I can't even aim accurately. Are you still fighting like this? Seeking investment, end of this chapter. Chapter 7. Victory in the first battle. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Victory in the first battle. To be honest, the special defense of the little Kabi beast is really high, and coupled with its abundant physical strength, the screw gopher used nearly 10 mud-throwing maneuvers before finally putting the little Kabi beast down. Charlie, at this moment, the screw hamster was also panting heavily in its mouth, and its chest was like a blower blowing wildly. Thanks to swallowing the ground gemstone fragments, the screw hamster has slightly improved its control over ground attribute energy and is more adept at throwing mud. Otherwise, if the little Kabi beast doesn't collapse again, it may not be able to hold on to its side for now. After all, in the real world, elves not only lose their stamina when facing attacks, but also consume a lot of stamina each time they use their ultimate moves to attack. Fortunately, the screw hamster persevered. Otherwise, those who get beaten up will be fine. Those who get beaten up will get tired and kneel down first. How much hell does this have to be? When the outcome of the battle came out, all the onlookers on the scene remained silent. It's not that they think Yun Hua and the screw gopher are too cunning, on the contrary, they think the way the screw gopher plays is really dirty. Although this dirty trick is only effective for low agility elves like the little Kabi beast, it's not easy to use it with a different elf. But it's really dirty. At this age, students still prefer passionate frontal battles, and dirty routines are something they despise. The little Kabi beast has lost its combat ability, so the winner is Yun Hua. After a long time, the student who made a guest appearance as a referee finally issued a ruling. And his decisive speech also brought the onlookers to their senses, followed by discussions. The little Kabi beast actually lost. Little Kabi beast lost, but it wasn't because of his poor strength that he lost to the screw hamster, but because he lost to Yun Hua's dirty routine. Indeed, Yun Hua's muddled face is really dirty. What's the difference between this and a child fighting with their eyes inserted, crotch pulled, and hair scratched? It's just a mess. Due to Yun Hua's bad relationship with boys, most of them are condemning his dirty tricks and thinking that he is invincible. There are also a few people who think that Yun Hua's gameplay is a bit dirty, but it seems that it does not violate the rules of elf battles and can be considered a tactic. There is no saying that victory is not martial. However, these people are still a minority. Although they think so in their hearts, they dare not speak out in support. Especially one of the initial elves, a young man with a mountain mouse, quietly landed and exited the crowd while the crowd was not paying attention. After walking to the corner, the boy released the Chuanshan mouse with an expectant expression and said, "Chuanshan mouse, do you also know how to throw mud skills? Don't play me, kid. Hurry up and show me. Chuanshan mouse. _ Yun Hua does not comment on the questioning of dirty routines. What's wrong with the dirt? Winning is the key without violating the rules, okay? Besides, I haven't heard the old saying. Is dirt healthier? Young and inexperienced, I have never been subjected to social abuse, understand the game." At this moment, Yun Hua's mood was quite good. Not only did he obtain a 10% discount card, but he also won the first battle of the elves. It was simply delightful. Ding-ling-ling. At that moment, the bell for class rang. The students on site were suddenly awakened, and Sayako quickly ran to the classroom. Fan Cheng stole the chicken but couldn't eat the rice. After glaring at Yun Hua, he also took back the little Kabi beast and quickly ran towards the classroom. On the other hand, Yun Hua was not in a hurry to attend class, but calmly took out an orange fruit from his backpack and placed it in the mouth of the screw hamster. Orange fruit is a common type of tree fruit that can restore a small portion of the spirit's stamina after consumption. Yun Hua's family grows orange fruit trees, so there is no shortage of orange fruits. Screw hamster did a good job this time. I'll ask my mother to stew braised pork belly for you at night. Yun Hua wore a smile on his face and reached out to rub the mouse's head as a gesture of encouragement. Before the battle began, Yun Hua was actually a bit worried about the screw hamster and might be afraid to fight. Elves, like humans, have their own personalities, and not all elves enjoy fighting. Some cowardly elves are only suitable as tool pets and can never become battle pets. Fortunately, the screw hamster did not disappoint Yun Hua. Charlie, Omega, as soon as he heard that braised pork belly was eaten, the rat's eyes turned into small stars. It will never forget the taste of braised pork belly, which is really wonderful. That is the most delicious food it has ever eaten. Not one at the moment. After retrieving the screw mole from the poke ball, Yun Hua slowly returned to the classroom. As soon as he sat down in his seat, the teacher arrived. Seize the opportunity, it's just right. This is a female teacher, in her 20s and 60s, with slightly dark skin but delicate facial features and an excellent figure. Especially her slender legs, like special effects, are long, straight, and stylish, very eye-catching. When the female teacher walked into the classroom, all the boys in the class couldn't help but focus their attention on her. Yun Hua is no exception. It's easy to say who doesn't have a face, but the key is those big long legs. Quite wide. My name is Anning, the teacher of your elf combat class. In the next year, I will teach you how to train elves and how to fight with them. However, although I am a new teacher, my training will be very strict. Please prepare for the delicious and bitter taste. The beautiful teacher calmly stood on the podium, scanned the whole room, and then spoke with a clear and hoarse voice, giving people a feeling of coolness and competence. As soon as the words fell, whispers rang out in the classroom. The boys were jokingly discussing their teacher's appearance and figure in a low voice, feeling lucky to have been assigned such a beautiful teacher. As for what to say about suffering. Hee hee. The boys said they want to suffer from the beautiful teacher now. As for the girls, they are more objective and rational because they can feel that the beautiful teacher in front of them seems not to be joking. The whispering lasted only for a dozen seconds, and then stopped under the stern gaze of the beautiful teacher. Seeing everyone obediently closing their mouths, Anning nodded in satisfaction. She looked serious and said, "But before the formal class, I still have to remind all the students a few words." Upon hearing this, everyone gathered their minds and waited for the teacher's message. I understand the joy and excitement that everyone feels when they first acquire the initial elf. They would love to immediately engage in an elf battle to showcase their abilities and superb command abilities. However, elves are still in their infancy within the first 1 or 2 weeks of birth, their bodies are not fully developed, and they are still very weak. If they engage in combat recklessly, it may cause significant damage, which is difficult to make up for. In addition, elves' souls are also very fragile during their childhood. It's okay for you to win in battles, but if you lose, it may leave an indelible shadow in the elves' hearts, ultimately leading to their fear of battle. And once the elves fear war, I don't need to say more about the consequences, do I? After speaking, Anning turned her gaze to Yun Hua and Fan Qing again. Obviously, the beautiful teacher had already seen the previous battle between the two and only then spoke out to be alert. Upon hearing this, Yun Hua and Fan Qingdu lowered their heads. Huagua is a rule of law society, with sound laws in all aspects and effective protection of the interests of the elves. Even if elves are timid in battle, they are not suitable to become trainers' combat pets. But according to the law, you must first provide psychological counseling to the elves, otherwise the Alliance will approve your replacement of the initial elves. As for the duration of this psychological counseling, it will take about 6 months. But the problem is, Yun Hua and his classmates are all high school seniors. The college entrance examination will be held in a year, which is an important moment that can change one's destiny. Once you lose half a year, how can you compare yourself to your peers? As for casually abandoning elves, this is a serious crime in the country of China, be careful not to eat a prison meal. What? Recruit another elf to cultivate. Sorry, novice trainers can only have 1 elf. Seeing that everyone understood the seriousness of the problem, the calm tone relaxed and he said, "All right, let's start the formal class now." Seeking investment. Requesting tickets. The new book is a seedling that needs everyone's care. Thank you to the big shot, I Love Banjira, for giving me 1667 coins and 1 monthly pass as a reward. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Lesson. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Lesson. In just a few simple words, the new teacher Anning has established his authority in the class and clearly has a lot of skills in doing things. Today is the first class of the new semester for everyone, and I don't want to talk about those boring professional content. I only talk about the general direction of knowledge. You can listen to it as a common sense class. You may or may not know some of the content. Students who do not know should listen carefully, while those who know should listen freely, but they must pay attention to classroom discipline. The peaceful teaching style is very different from the usual teachers. Currently, I feel that the atmosphere is quite harmonious and also more appealing to my classmates. In addition, with her high appearance, the boys only wanted to behave well and try to win the favor of the teacher, without anyone bothering. Everyone has the initial Pokémon, which means they are all trainers. Let me first talk about trainers and other levels. Anning walked down from the podium and walked slowly along the gap between the desks, saying, "There are 10 levels of trainers, from low to high. Beginner level, intermediate level, advanced level, professional level, Taoist level, master level, king level, champion level, and legendary level." Legendary level. I don't know if it's related to the legendary elves. Yun Hua rubbed his chin and thought quietly in the corner, ready to wait for Teacher N's words. However, Yun Hua was soon disappointed. Today I will mainly talk about the first 6 levels and the last 4 levels, which ordinary people may not be able to reach in their lifetime, and I don't know much about it. If the students present here can one day become trainers at the level of kings or masters, please don't forget that you have an enlightenment teacher named Anning when writing your autobiography. Unexpectedly, the serious teacher and also had playful moments, and suddenly burst into laughter. With a raised hand and a forced pressure, the noisy laughter suddenly came to an end. Teacher and continued, "The novice trainer refers to the trainer who is 18 years old and has just received the initial elf, which is all of you here. At this stage, as your cultivation and combat experience are basically zero, coupled with the fact that the elves have just been born, their strength is the weakest. However, this time will not last too long. Through scientific learning and cultivation, the vast majority of students can be promoted to become junior trainers through level assessments within a year. A small number of talented individuals may only be able to complete 6 months. And for beginner trainers, they are a stepping stone. Without this brick, you wouldn't even be qualified to take the college entrance examination." Teacher and paced slowly and talked confidently. Originally, in this world, although there are countless professions, industries related to elves are absolutely mainstream. And the elf trainer profession is also the mainstream, with extremely fierce competition. The junior trainer level only qualifies you to take the college entrance examination and attend university, but like on Blue Star, universities are also divided into 3, 6, or 9 levels. The difference between top-tier universities and lower-tier universities is sometimes even greater than the difference between humans and dogs. So if you want to do well in the future, it is very necessary to get into a good university. Gone. After working hard for a while, I still have to go back to my senior year and take the college entrance examination again. Yun Hua suddenly felt that this wave of travel was not as fragrant anymore. After a pause and waiting for the students to digest, Teacher and continued, "After the basic level, it becomes the intermediate level, which is the level of ordinary university freshmen and sophomores. But if any one of you can reach this level before the college entrance examination." Hee. The classmates were aroused with curiosity and said, "Teacher, what would happen if we reached the intermediate level in our 3rd year of high school?" Upon hearing this, Yun Hua also became interested. Listening to the tone of the beautiful teacher, it seemed like a very remarkable achievement. "All universities in the country. You can choose." Teacher didn't play any tricks and quickly gave the answer. The classmates showed a hopeful expression on their faces, but it was only limited to hope. Because High County No. 2 High School is only located in the county town, it is not a top ordinary high school, and students have a bit of a 13 in their hearts. They do not expect to become the kind of arrogant emperor. Subsequently, Teacher mentioned the advanced level, which is already the level of a 3rd or 4th year student in an ordinary university, and graduating smoothly is not a problem. Moreover, in the advanced stage, most elves will complete the evolution of their final form, and their strength will increase rapidly. If the education level and strength are not poor, there is a high probability of being admitted to alliance organizations through unified exams and becoming a secure career such as police officers and forest rangers. As for the future career level and Taoist level, Teacher doesn't say much either. She only said that professional trainers can participate in the professional leagues of the China League, and they can earn a considerable income through competitions. Every one of them is a social elite of China. In terms of Daoguan level, the meaning is very obvious. Huagua has a Daoguan in every city, and Daoguan level strength is a prerequisite for becoming a Daoguan trainer. Teacher, what kind of trainer are you? As soon as Ning's words fell, a boy raised his hand to inquire. However, for this question, it is obvious that not only the boy is curious, but everyone in the class is also curious. Yun Hua is no exception. Do you want to know my trainer's rank? And Ning's face showed a hint of smile, and finally he said leisurely, keep it a secret. Cut. The classroom was filled with complaints, expressing dissatisfaction with booze. However, Anning was not moved by it. Subsequently, Teacher An explained several main directions for cultivating and training elves. Skills, characteristics, physical fitness, tactics. Taking the physical fitness of elves as an example, it can be subdivided into physical strength, speed, strength, defense, spiritual power, explosive power, coordination ability, and so on, and even includes willpower in a broad sense. The key is in the subdivision field, which can actually be further refined, such as speed, which includes movement speed, reaction speed, evasion speed, energy aggregation speed, and the speed of using ultimate moves, etc. After listening to Teacher An's explanation, Yun Hua finally realized that Elf Trainer is really a professional course with a wide range of content, completely different from the game of fighting monsters to gain experience, and then adding some effort to brush. At this moment, Yun Hua felt that she should take it seriously. Otherwise, although I have 2 sandstone crystals as support, I may not be able to become a powerful sandstorm trainer. After discussing the cultivation of elves, Teacher An began to talk about the comparison of elves in various regions of China, as well as the comparison between domestic and foreign elves. He even compared the top trainers in China and the United States. The students were so engrossed in it that they were completely unaware of the passage of time. It wasn't until the sound of the gymnastics broadcast that they realized that 2 classes had already passed. Even after crossing time, you still have to do radio gymnastics. It's noisy. Yun Hua has a MMP in his heart, and he doesn't know whether to say it or not. Alright, that's all for today's class. Oh, by the way. Teacher An suddenly remembered something and paid attention to everyone. Starting from next month, the school will organize practical competitions within the class every month. Students who win excellent rankings will also receive generous rewards in the school. I hope everyone can participate actively. Especially you 2 classmates. Before leaving, Anning once again teased Yun Hua and Fan Cheng. Obviously these 2 had already left an impression on the beautiful teacher. As for whether it is a good impression or a bad impression, it's hard to say. But it has to be said that the class of Anning has brought great benefits to Yun Hua. He decided to go back and search for more information online to gain a better understanding of the real world, in order to prevent any future misunderstandings. Time flies, and the day's course ends quickly. When Yun Hua rode his bicycle home, it was only around 5 o'clock, and Yun's father and mother had not returned as usual. So Yun Hua is considering whether it's possible to bring the screw hamster for basic training and find the feeling first. Requesting recommended tickets. Seeking investment. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Start training. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Start training. Yun Hua's family is located in a suburban town, and a few hundred meters to the west are several continuous small mountains. Yun's father and mother contracted to plant trees and fruits in the mountains. Due to its remote location, the open space next to Yun Hua's home is very large, adjacent to a small mountain with green waters and mountains nearby, making it very livable. Yun Hua took out the Poké ball and pressed the switch. Charlie, the screw hamster, appeared full of vitality. Screw mole, you did a great job in the morning battle. Yun Hua came up with a wave of praise, which greatly benefited the mice. The little one just feels that his hard work and dedication have paid off. But as soon as the words changed, Yun Hua began to lengthen his voice, clearly familiar with the way of raising before suppressing. Charlie. The screw mole tilted its head and scratched its head with its paws, looking puzzled. Is there anything else I can't do well about myself? As if sensing the confusion of the screw hamster, Yun Hua quickly explained, however, you can't be proud of the screw hamster either. The strength of the little Kabi beast in the morning is still very strong, but it lacks effective training and mastery of the ultimate move is not yet proficient. But if the opponent goes home for targeted training and masters the rolling skills proficiently, the next time they hit you, it won't be a matter of minutes. Upon hearing this, the screw mole lowered its head. The rolling skill of the little Kabi beast is still fresh in its memory, with fast speed and fierce momentum, and its attack power is definitely not weak. If hit, the consequences would be unimaginable. So, we also need to work hard to exercise and become stronger as soon as possible. In this way, we'll beat him up again next time. Yun Hua encouraged on the side. Charlie, the screw hamster, was deeply inspired and inexplicably excited, holding up its paw. Beating people or something, it loves it the most. Diligent rodents are not afraid of hard work. Charlie, master needs to train now. Hurry up for me. Looking at the eager appearance of the screw mole, Yun Hua's face showed a smile. The mouse is very impressive, it can become powerful in just a few words. Yun Hua has prepared a lot of poisonous chicken soup, but there is not even a chance to use it. Since that's the case, let's start with the most basic running. Let's first run laps around the open space and strive to run 10 laps. Yun Hua waved his hand and started running circles with the screw hamster. There are many benefits to running, such as activating the body's blood circulation, enhancing physical fitness, prolonging physical strength, improving body coordination, etc. If you persist for a long time, it also has the effect of exercising willpower. Due to the fact that the screw hamster has only been born for a short time, and Yun Hua has not yet mastered the scientific methods of elf training. So after thinking for a long time, he was ready to start from the basics, gradually train the mice. As for the targeted training of subsequent elements, it can only be carried out after teacher explains in class, otherwise Yun Hua wouldn't dare to practice blindly. Because he could sense that elves are actually very similar to athletes on Blue Star. If you don't understand something, don't practice, otherwise there is a high possibility that it will backfire. Blindly practicing will really ruin the cultivation of elves, and we must grasp the degree well. And running is relatively gentle. If the screw hamster can't hold on halfway, Yun Hua can also stop in time. Charlie, but unexpectedly, the elf's physique is really strong. Although the screw mole is small and has short legs, its running speed is not slow at all. The key is that the strength of the screw hamster is still very good, and even after 10 laps, it only sweats slightly on its forehead. On the other hand, Yun Hua sweats like rain, pants like cows. 10 laps, which is just over 1,000 meters, almost didn't hold on. Hey. This person's physical fitness is a bit lacking, isn't it? Yun Hua started shaking the pan. My dish is all due to Yun Hua, and it has nothing to do with my Yun Hua. The screw hamster did a good job running just now. Yun Hua gave a thumbs up and praised, deciding to consider pursuing thumb education in the future. Because praising the mouse is very useful and has a good effect. So take a 5-minute break, and after the break, let's start drilling training. Yun Hua's gaze was burning, as if thinking about something. The screw mole, like the mountain-penetrating mole, has a natural ability of making holes and is recognized as one of the easiest elves to learn the hole-digging skill, only one drop short of the gifted mole. Digging a hole, this can be considered a small divine skill that can be attacked in advance and defended in retreat. If the screw hamster could learn the hole-digging skill, Yun Hua could imagine that the mouse could basically walk horizontally at the current stage. Because at this stage, it is almost impossible for elves to learn skills such as heavy stepping, earthquake, and earth power to counter digging. However, as a mid-level skill in the ground system, digging holes is not easy to master. To master the skill of digging a hole, one must at least dig a large hole within 1 second that is enough to hide oneself. After digging the hole, the elf had to quickly traverse the ground, sense the opponent's location, and then suddenly unleash its power to strike the opponent and cause damage. Although screw hamsters are good at drilling holes, their speed is clearly not as fast as the requirements of digging skills. So, learn and practice more. However, Ma Bolin once said that the ground attribute talent of the screw mole is very high, and with the assistance of ground gem fragments for growth, Yun Hua still has confidence in the mole's mastery of digging holes. After taking a break, the screw mole began to drill holes. The long, large, and hard white claws are the best tool for screw hamsters. With both claws down, the soil can be easily peeled off without much effort. Soon, a fresh large pit appeared, almost half a meter deep. Is it 5 seconds? Yun Hua pressed the watch and the timing ended. To be honest, digging a half-meter deep pit in 5 seconds is as fast as a small excavator, and even migrant workers can't help but shed tears. But compared to the requirements of the digging hole skill, it is still far from enough. Screw mole, continue digging, this time dig forward. Under the command of Yun Hua, the screw mole waved its claws and advanced. In less than 3 minutes, it dug out a small ditch about 10 meters long. However, the screw hamster is still young and lacks physical strength, so achieving this level is already the limit. Shari, the screw hamster was half paralyzed in the mud ditch, panting like a cow. I'm exhausted. Give me a quick sip of milk. The last gem fragment was very good. The screw mole gestured and gestured, clearly unable to forget the fragments of gemstones on the ground. However, Yun Hua will obviously not let it succeed. Bear child, can't get used to it. There are no gemstone fragments, but there is one orange fruit. Do you like it or not? Yun Hua took out a blue and plump fruit from his pocket. Orange fruit, as a basic tree fruit, is not rare, so its price is not high. You can buy one for just a few yuan. Unlike those tree fruits with special effects, the price can be frighteningly high. Shari, the mouse expressed displeasure, but still munched on the orange fruit and regained some of its strength. After 3 groups of hole digging training, Yun Hua instructed the screw hamster to conduct skill training. In terms of mud throwing skills, the main focus is on training the throwing distance and accuracy of the mouse. Perhaps due to the unique skills of this series, the screw hamster is very proficient, and can basically guarantee hitting every target within a range of 10 meters, pointing and hitting. Mouse flying mud, no empty hair. In terms of claw skills, the screw hamster mainly trains the speed and strength of using the skills. As for the high-speed spinning technique, Yun Hua didn't know if he didn't practice it, but he was startled when he practiced it. Because the screw hamster seems to have the same problem as the little Kabi beast, which is that after entering a high-speed rotation state, it cannot control the direction and is easily prone to running away while rotating. In other words, it's not a problem to use this move in place for defense, but it's difficult to integrate offense and defense. Yun Hua quickly took out his notebook and wrote a few words about high-speed rotation on it, then added a big dot at the back. Although the problem has been identified, he still has no idea how to solve it specifically. He is going to ask the teacher when class starts tomorrow. After training for over an hour, Yun Mama had already returned and prepared her meal. Yun Hua saw that the status of the screw hamster had declined, so she stopped training. Young people, we need to know how to control ourselves. After a full meal, Yun Hua made a 60 cm x 50 cm box out of wood and nails, which was covered with a layer of clean dry sand. Each grain of sand was blown by the hot air of a hair dryer. This is the sand bed, which Yun Hua specially prepared for the screw hamster. Charlie, after finishing dinner and scrubbing his body, the screw hamster lay happily on the sand bed, pulling on the fine sand with all its limbs, feeling every pore of his body open, happily. Although bath towels and blankets are also warm, where is the sand comfortable? By the time Yun Hua finished taking a shower and came down to take a look, the mouse was already snoring like thunder. It seemed that the little one was indeed tired today. Quietly turning off the lights, Yun Hua returned to her room. No one noticed that on the sand bed where the screw mole lay, the sand was slowly flowing. New books or seedlings that require everyone's care. Requesting tickets. Seeking investment. Please follow up. Thank you to the book enthusiasts. The 200 starting coins for Yenshin 961, and the 300 starting coins for If Time Ends YX. Thank you to the book friend. 20200221102731584 for sending the monthly pass. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Flowing Sand Hell. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Flowing Sand Hell. Time flies, half a month has passed in the blink of an eye. During these 2 weeks, Yun Hua worked hard in class during the day, took notes frequently, and absorbed knowledge related to elves as much as possible. After school, carefully train the screw hamster according to the methods learned, so that the hamster can grow as soon as possible. The screw hamster is naturally talented, coupled with the assistance of ground attribute gem fragments and scientific training methods. The mouse has made significant progress every day in the past 2 weeks. Firstly, the drilling speed of the screw mole has been reduced from 5 seconds to 3 seconds, giving Yun Hua hope to master the digging skill. Secondly, the combat skills of the screw mole have also been improved, and its actual combat ability is incomparable to before. Finally, it was the size of the mouse, which had risen by a full 3 centimeters, and its body had become even more majestic. If it weren't for its rat-like aura, it would have been a handsome little elf. On the vacant land next to Yun Hua's house. In order to create a fighting atmosphere for the screw hamster, Yun Hua specially invited Yun Ma's mosquito-repellent tadpoles to accompany him for training. Puff. 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 Small water guns shot out from the mosquito-repellent tadpole's mouth and headed straight towards the screw hamster 10 meters away, exuding a majestic presence. However, under the guidance of Yun Hua, the mosquito-repellent tadpole's water gun ultimate move intentionally slowed down in both power and speed. In addition, the screw mole itself is not slow, so I saw the mole jumping left and right and surprisingly avoided all the water guns. Mosquito incense tadpoles, gradually increasing the power of water guns. Seeing the screw mole deftly dodging, Yun Hua slightly raised the corner of his mouth and decided to increase the difficulty. Although Yun Ma's mosquito-repellent tadpoles are not combat pets, they are still old enough, so even if they only grow freely, they still have the strength of a junior elf. If the firepower is fully activated, it will be a matter of minutes to hang the screw hamster. Yo, the mosquito-repellent tadpole nodded, indicating that after receiving it, the output of the water gun in its mouth instantly increased. Originally only 3 fingers thick, the water column instantly expanded to the thickness of its wrist. As the water flow increases, the spraying speed of the water gun is also rapidly increasing. Charlie, this time, the screw mole can no longer be as easy as before, and instantly becomes extremely embarrassed, using its hands and feet to desperately dodge. However, in a state of embarrassment, the screw mole successfully dodged all the water gun attacks until the mosquito-repellent tadpole's water gun power was upgraded again. This time, the screw hamster couldn't bear it anymore and couldn't hide. As a last resort, the screw mole let out a strange cry and suddenly spun rapidly, like a top. High-speed rotation. Poo-poo poo-poo. The mosquito-repellent tadpole was hit by a water gun, but it didn't work. Because the water flow is not strong, it is shattered and scattered upon contact with high-speed rotating energy, turning into a vast expanse of water. Not only that, after entering a high-speed rotation state, the screw mole began to turn from defense to attack, transforming into a spiral energy body and quickly attacking the mosquito-repellent tadpole. Not bad, there was no deviation this time. Yun Hua touched his chin, with a look of admiration in his eyes. Half a month ago, after Yun Hua discovered the problem with the screw hamster, he consulted with Teacher Anning. The answer given by Teacher An is to appropriately reduce the speed of rotation. After mastering the high-speed spinning technique, elves easily enter a sharp turning path in pursuit of power. Because the faster the rotation speed, the greater the power of high-speed rotation. The problem is that once the sprite rotates at its maximum speed, it not only cannot see the surrounding environment clearly, but it is also easy to get dizzy, ultimately leading to the inability to sustain its high-speed rotation skills. Under the guidance of Teacher Yun Hua began to slow down the rotation speed of the screw hamster. When the rotation speed decreased by 60%, the screw hamster was able to see the target clearly during rotation and no longer worried about losing sight. Afterwards, the screw hamster started steadily from 60% speed, slowly and gradually increasing while ensuring visibility and avoiding dizziness. Now half a month has passed, and the screw hamster is able to rotate at 80% of its maximum speed. With a balance between vision and power, it can also move and actively attack opponents. Did the rat float? Mosquito-repellent tadpoles are elves with a speed and race value of up to 90, and even higher in rank than you. How could they possibly catch up? Seeing that the screw mole could not catch up with the mosquito-repellent tadpole no matter how much it chased, Yun Hua couldn't help but laugh. Although there is no concept of race value in this world, Yun Hua still habitually increases race value, which represents the talent of the elf race. Although race values may not apply to all elves, they are still quite useful in the vast majority of cases. Alright, stop it. Yun Hua approached and shouted to stop, laughing, rest for 10 minutes. Yo, the mosquito-repellent tadpole swayed its little tail and sat down next to Yun Hua, looking extremely cute. Charlie, the screw hamster also withdrew from the high-speed rotation state and sat on the other side of Yun Hua. Both the left and right protectors lived together. Now let's practice throwing mud skills. After a moment, practical specialized training continued. Throwing mud practice refers to the use of screw hamsters as the main attacker and mosquito-repellent tadpoles as the main dodger. The prerequisite for the absence of deficiency in mouse flying mud is that the target cannot be hit. Once encountering a moving target, the head of the screw hamster will rapidly drop, so this exercise was born. At this moment, Yun Hua was somewhat fortunate. Fortunately, the last time he encountered a small Kabi beast, if it were a highly sensitive elf, he would not have had to play dirty tricks anymore. Who? Taking a deep breath, the ground energy in the screw hamster's body began to converge onto its palm, and finally condensed into dark mud blocks that it vigorously threw out. Compared to the mud blocks half a month ago, the mud blocks at this time have significantly increased in size, and the key is that they are black. It is evident that reducing the opponent's shooting rate will have a good effect. Although there are many mud lumps and they fly all over the sky, mosquito-repellent tadpoles can easily avoid them due to their speed advantage. There are thousands of mud bushes passing by, and the dirt doesn't get on my feet. Mosquito-repellent tadpoles, don't run too fast, take it easy. Screw mole, don't be impatient, stabilize. As a trainer, Yun Hua began training guidance. Firstly, the speed of the mosquito-repellent tadpole was not suppressed. If it was too fast, the screw hamster would not be able to hit it, and therefore would not have the effect of training. Speaking of the screw mole, Yun Hua must also make it understand that even if his attack cannot hit the opponent temporarily, he must not panic and must stabilize his rhythm. Yun Hua's persuasion took effect, and both sides adjusted their pace, creating an atmosphere in an instant. However, as a water elf who loves cleanliness, the bottom line for mosquito-repellent tadpoles to release water is not to be hit by throwing mud. So although the screw mole tried very hard, it still didn't succeed every time, always rubbing against the tadpole's body in failing. In this way, the rhythm of the screw hamster began to be disrupted again, and the frequency of attacks gradually increased. After all, the rat is still too young to hold its breath. Yun Hua shook his head and was about to dissuade. But at this moment, the screw mole suddenly raised its right paw and then struck the ground heavily. A magical energy was transmitted, and the soil under the mosquito-repellent tadpole's feet instantly turned into flowing sand with a diameter of about 2 meters. The mosquito-repellent tadpole caught off guard and sank half of its body, instantly trapped and unable to move any further. Is this a quicksand hell? Yun Hua was momentarily stunned, then suddenly reacted and a look of ecstasy appeared on his face. Quicksand Hell, a unique ground attribute move that creates a quicksand realm, trapping opponents and attacking them. This is a controllable and offensive skill, and if used well, it can control the opponent to death. Charlie, taking advantage of the mosquito-repellent tadpole being trapped, the screw-ground mouse was overjoyed and quickly gathered mud to throw it onto the former, making it covered in mud. Charlie, screw hamster. Why, carrot oh carrot, why? The rat jumped happily, even reaching out its paws and saying, yeah. Aren't you very good at running? Am I still trapped and covered in mud now? However, the screw hamster hasn't rustled for too long, and the mosquito-repellent tadpoles in the sand's face instantly changed, raging with anger. Mosquito incense tadpole. Privacy tax. Do you dare to make me covered in mud? Die for me. Puff. A thick column of water shot out from the mosquito-repellent tadpole's mouth, and in the blink of an eye, it knocked away the screw hamster more than 10 meters away. When the rat fell to the ground, it had already lost its combat ability by turning its eyes in circles. After spraying out a water column to clean the sludge on their bodies, the mosquito-repellent tadpoles returned to their original soft and cute appearance, as if nothing had happened. The sudden change was too fast for Yun Hua to stop. Besides, it's the screw hamster's fault. Yun Hua can't blame the mosquito-repellent tadpole either. If the little one takes revenge and doesn't come to practice next time, who can we talk to? I told you not to mess with girls, don't mess with girls, why don't you listen? Yun Hua sighed and took out an orange fruit to feed the screw hamster. After the mouse woke up, tears welled up in its eyes, accusing the mosquito-repellent tadpoles of their barbaric behavior, hoping that Yun Hua could make the decision for it. But Yun Hua didn't bother to pay attention to it, the stinky kid just took it on himself. Requesting tickets. Seeking investment. Please follow up. End of this chapter.